According to the World Health Organization, by the year 2030, there will be a shortage of 9 million nurses worldwide. Nursing shortage is a concern globally. Nursing schools are struggling with recruitment and retention of nursing students, and there's a high dropout rate globally. Perceptions strongly influence the choice to choose nursing as a career and a nurse's choice to remain in the profession. Quote, the public image of nursing influences the perception of nursing applicants, and it has been recognized to portray nurses in a stereotypical and negative way. For centuries, nurses have not had an equal role on the healthcare team. They have been portrayed as having a less important role than physicians in the care of their patients and have not adequately made their voices heard. For this reason, we would like to present the history of how nursing arrived in this place, as well as what nurses need to do to have their voices heard, claim their agency, and be treated in healthcare organizations and in the public eye as equal members of the healthcare team. Nursing has religious beginnings. For centuries, nursing was delivered through Christian religious institutions. Nurses were expected to be self-effacing and not show pride by discussing their accomplishments. Nurses had solid technical and medical mastery, but their knowledge and skill was hidden, and they were expected to be deferential and submissive and portrayed as virtuous. Even Florence Nightingale's model of professional nursing, while placing a strong emphasis on professional knowledge and skill, also placed strong emphasis on the virtues of nursing, such as love of nursing, showing love and sympathy to patients, nurses being punctual, quiet, trustworthy, tidy and regular, and having a good personality. The entrance of physicians into powerful positions in hospitals also led to the virtue script. Nurses had to give physicians a dominant role over practice in order to be able to function in a hospital. They served to carry out the physician's medical mission. Physicians represented their profession based on their education and knowledge, so in order not to compete with them, the nurse had to identify with the characteristics of a compassionate caregiver. This was considered to be a form of self-sacrifice. In the present day, the virtue script remains prevalent, even with nursing's advanced education and practice. The first commandment of the virtue script is that nurses must remain silent about their work, meaning that they must not claim credit for their mastery and accomplishments. Public image perpetuates the virtue script with images of smiling nurses as caregivers in their whimsical scrubs that don't portray nurses using their knowledge and skills to care for their patients. Many organizations also focus on who a nurse is rather than what they do. The virtue script permeates hospital publications, nursing awards, and is then portrayed by the media to the public.
This is an example of Voice of Virtue, where some hospitals looked for ways to improve patient satisfaction scores. One hospital asked nurses to smile more. Did you know a New Jersey nurse was suspended 2 days because she didn't smile while she was on the phone? In another hospital, nurses complained that the surveys were more like hotel concierge, focusing not on clinical care, but on their virtues. Now let's look at Voice of Agency. Voice of Agency is the capacity for bringing change that conveys the importance of what nurses do. To establish the sense of agency, it relies on the nurses recognizing not just the importance of their work, but their own importance in carrying out their work. Why is Voice of Agency important? Because with the Voice of Agency, the public will recognize what nurses do and respect the nursing work. In turn, nurses are rewarded with improved nurse-patient ratio, support, and continuing education, and be provided with resources that allow the nurses to do their work. Quote, nurses' voices carry immense weight, and now more than ever, it is critical those voices are heard loud and clear in local, state, and federal elections. It is the public voice of nursing that strengthens capacity for nurses to hold a greater share of power in shaping policy and public opinion. Nurses are experts in their profession and healthcare, yet nurses are underrepresented in Congress. Did you know that there are only 3 current members who are nurses? Pictured here is U.S. Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, who was the first registered nurse elected to Congress. Now compare this to the Voice of Virtue example. The nurse here is concentrating on drawing up vaccines. You can see she may not be smiling, but she's certainly using her clinical skills to do her work. And take a look at this patient satisfaction survey with a Voice of Agency, asking patients' perceptions based on nurses' knowledge and skills.
Presenting yourself as a nurse. When we use our full name and title as nurses, that is one way that we can present ourselves as nurses. Our appearance also shapes how we are seen. If we want to convey competency, putting families at ease, we must remember that first impressions are the golden opportunity for nurses to frame themselves as true professionals. Presenting yourself as an expert shows your agency as a nurse.
When all nurses collectively claim power of their voice and show their agency, it will elevate nurses to a professional view. Whether at the bedside with patients and family, in our own homes and communities, in public and private spaces, in professional environments, and in the political arena, it is the public voice of nursing that increases our capacity to hold a greater share of power in shaping policy and public opinion. When nurses are able to collectively speak with agency, they will move away from the virtue script. They will be able to affect positive change. The health of patients will increase. Nurses will be seen as experts in knowledge and clinical skills. Overall job satisfaction will increase, and the nursing shortage will be reduced. Society will no longer see nurses through the lens of the virtue script. Nurses will be united in public voice, showing their agency and increasing their capacity to bring about change.